Congratulations.
Is that 100 amp? We're good.
Oh, Scott.
This is good.
Students, we see you.
You're good.
This is a very, awesome occasion. You have all worked so hard, and I know sometimes as you approach your senior year, the credits just start to weigh on you. You're just like really, really overwhelmed. So I know some of you know this story about my life, but I was kind of like thinking, like, how would I introduce everyone? How would I start my introduction before we got into the more ritualistic part of the ceremony? And I just had been hosting this event for a while, so I'm starting to run out of ideas. And then I thought, maybe I should do like ChatGPT. So I checked it out, and I had my husband run 2 speeches for me, and they were both really lame. And I decided I can do better than that. In 2015, I was hired here full-time as a faculty, moving from an adjunct position. And in 2015, I also bought a sailboat. It was a 26-foot sailboat. I didn't know how to sail. I didn't really know that once it got in the water, it was going to move in a different way. It was a little overwhelming. And I would live in it like a gypsy ship, and I accrued some friends. And luckily, one of my best friends knew how to sail well. So for 7 years, the little Duchess was sailing on, and we were doing the best we could. And then one day, right before we were going through the bridge in Monmouth County, our engine ceased, the bridge was still down, and we hit the bridge. And we demasted the boat, and it was really scary and crazy and upsetting, and I really, I kind of felt like a failure. It took me a while to get over the fact that we had crashed the sailboat. So a few months forward, things started to get easier, and I realized that sometimes failure provides the foundation for success. There's always going to be more boats, and luckily no one on my crew got hurt. So to make a happy story out of this, we ended up getting a bigger boat. We got a Bento Frist 405. I ended up also getting a motorboat, a little Grady White used boat, and now we just have more sailing and more boating and more community and more help. And I realize that it's not how good of a sailor I am, but it's the community I have and the crew that I have. So when you are graduating this year, this spring, or perhaps you're graduating next year, or perhaps you're a parent and you still don't know what you're doing in your life, which is fine too, I just want you to know a few things. Let go of your expectations. You're going to get a job. You're probably going to get a few jobs, and some of them are going to really stress you out. But know that you can sample without stopping. You can change your mind. You can have a corporate job for 20 years and then wake up and decide to open a florist, and it's fine. It's okay. Don't graduate and get so stressed out. You want to think about letting go, enjoying your moment, celebrating, taking a moment to reflect, regroup, and just rewarding yourself. It's okay to not know what you're doing all the time. I want you to realize that sometimes when you're struggling, just reaching out to someone in a phone call or text is helpful. Just sharing that you are struggling with someone is super important, and realize that we're all just doing our best. So if things start to build on you, sit down, take a drink of water, check in with your community, and just remember, who you are as your authentic self is good enough. It doesn't matter what your peers are doing or what they look like or what their personality is. It matters that you're true to your authentic self. And I really appreciate you all, students and faculty alike here, and Felicia's dad, Phil. I appreciate you all allowing me to be my authentic self, because it makes a big difference for me to go to work and know that I can show up and shine with people who care about me. So thank you. Woo! I will also say that I had rainbow Crocs on with trolls on them, and I put on adult shoes. And sometimes you do need to wear adult shoes, but make sure you don't drive in heels. It'll ruin them. Okay, we're going to get started. Lambda Pi Eta is represented by the Greek letters L, P, and H. And my boyfriend Aristotle came up with these letters in his book, Rhetoric. And basically, we all know that logos means logic, and pathos is relating to emotion, and we know that ethos is ethics. Ethics, credibility, and even your own credibility that you bring initially to a moment or a room. This Greek organization, Lambda Pi Eta, was founded at the University of Arkansas, and it was endorsed by St. Stephen A. Smith in 1985. Who knew? I was 4. The purpose of this society is to reward outstanding achievements. All of you here today have amazing GPAs. You've put in the effort. Some of you even have 4.0s, and it's just magical to see what you're capable of doing. I've seen some of you dress in costume for a presentation, bring in soul food. I've even seen some of you, just in passing at your jobs, making lobster for people or being at a retail place, teaching yoga. So it's interesting to see how you can all work so hard and yet still be scholastically achieving. Lambda Pi Eta is also to stimulate interest in the field of communication, to discuss and exchange ideas in the field of communication. I'd like to congratulate Dr. Guitar's student research team for all their work they've done this year. Representing at events, I like that. We always continue with professional development. I know that Professor Gilly and Professor Schwab just did a social media event, and that was successful. And then finally, we think about maintaining relationships, and that's between faculty and students. So when you graduate, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're here for you. And don't hesitate to reach out to each other, because this was your college experience, and these are your people. Today we're going to have 2 guest speakers, and we're going to also meet our alumni donor and really cool guy, Michael. And we're also going to give an award to a faculty member, and then we'll be presenting the student awards. Our first alumni speaker is Brianna Curtis. She's a higher education professional. She is the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement for Montclair State University. She's also had roles with St. Elizabeth University, dealing with alumni relationships. One of her most notable tasks is her work with the YMCA. She is on the board for the South Mountain YMCA. She is a director. She really pushed their membership and marketing post-COVID to help make the YMCA a viable place. YMCA, had to do it, sorry. And she's a social media expert. She graduated Kane in 2015, and we welcome you, Brianna, to speak to our students, and thank you.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I am really excited to be here today. When Allison first asked me to come on board and speak to you all, I really struggled, because I was like, what can I say that's going to be impactful, that's going to be relevant? When I really thought about it, I was like, geez, next year will be 10 years since I graduated from King University. It's a short time, but it feels like a long time, and I can tell for some of you, who's the class of 2024? Yeah, in 10 years, it'll feel like 5 minutes, trust me. So I just came to talk to you today and to tell you some things about what your life is going to be like after graduation. You're going to get there at the Prudential Center. Your parents will be in tears. You'll be all dressed up. You'll be on this amazing high from the whole day, because it really is an amazing day. And then once you leave the arena, once everyone tearfully takes pictures and they come out of the arena, you'll be sitting there, you'll be like, well, now what do I do? Some of you will have jobs lined up. Some of you will be still trying to figure it out. And just as she said, it's okay. It's really okay, because when I came to Kane in 2011, I thought I was going to be working on a television set. I really came here to get my degree in communications. I wanted to work in Hollywood. I wanted to work there. But through my journey, I realized that my strength is relationship building. My strength is going out and talking to people, talking to alumni. I love what I do now. I'm close with Carol Ann Coart, who works on the alumni engagement team here. Stay connected to Kane University, and always come back. Give your time. There are 2 things you get when you graduate from Kane University. They don't give you your diploma at graduation. It's empty. You'll get your diploma about 8 months later or longer. So you get this lovely, in the package, you get this lovely diploma from Kane University, says your name, and you get a letter from the Alumni Association and the foundation here at Kane asking for money. And I know some of you are like, what do you mean asking for money? I've barely paid you guys off yet. But your $24.20 or whatever it is that you can give makes an impact. The whole reason why you're able to graduate from Kane University, and in the line of work that I do, it's so important, is because alumni really do fuel your network. A lot of people say your network is your net worth. Alumni and what you're going to become in a few months is really going to help out another student. There's going to be a student who is just like you. Think about your most challenging times here at Kane University. To be totally candid with you, I almost quit. I got so overwhelmed to the point where I was like, I need to take a break. I need to maybe try something else. But I talked to a few people. I reached out to a few people, and they were able to help me and kind of rearrange where I was at that time, and ended up graduating. If I had stopped, I probably wouldn't have come back to Kane University, but I'm thankful that I had a network and I had people who I could go to and who I could talk to, because I wouldn't be doing the things I would be doing today if I quit Kane University. So I say that to say a couple things, and just give you some words of advice. As you go on your journey, there's going to be so much noise about whether a college degree is worth it, whether going back to college is worth it. And I can always tell you in this line of work, being in higher education, that it always is. Your choices that you made the right choice coming to Kane University, you're getting a good education. There will be so many times where people will be impressed by what you know and what you can do just by coming, and the things that your professors have taught you. Trust me. Just remember to always be open to change and adapting. The world that you're walking into is always going to be changing, and it's always going to be evolving. I learned that firsthand. When I first came to Kane University, my specialty area was media. So I did a lot of video production classes, and I remember being in someone's class, and our professor told us, you guys really need to tighten up your skills in video editing. You need to know how to edit, because when you get out in the real world, you won't be able to do everything on your phones. So the next semester after he said that, iPhone literally came out with a phone with cinematic quality, where you could literally film a whole movie on your phone and edit it from your phone. So the world that you're living in is always going to be changing. Was that professor wrong? No, because you know how much someone gets paid to edit video for people who are YouTubers now? You can make a whole full-time living on that. So sometimes we do get outdated advice from our professors, but take the good and the bad. There's good points in it and there's bad. One thing also is just balance is key. I think that in today's world, we really don't know how to balance ourselves. We are either too invested in work, not enough invested in work. Take some time for yourself, breathe, think, enjoy these last few weeks. I know it feels like you've been at Kane for an eternity and you're ready to go, but enjoy the last few weeks. Remember that just balance. Have your self-care, your time to yourself. Remember that you are important. Also, remember that as you're going through your professional journey, You're going to end up in some situations that you love, and you're going to end up in some situations that you hate. And whatever team that you are on when you go into those journeys, remember that everyone has something to offer. It doesn't matter if you go into work every day and you can pick apart every person and say, this person I don't like, they do this person I don't like, they do that. Remember that everyone has something to offer, and find the something that everyone has to offer, because it's all a learning experience. One thing I also want to tell you guys is join a professional society. As communication, it's funny because when we talk about what students need and what students want, there's often this thing that goes around that says communication students don't have communication skills, which is very ironic. But remember to reach out to people, remember to connect to people, join a professional society. There's plenty out there, and if you want to take some time and chat after we're done, I could tell you about some. And just finally, I would say, just be patient. You know, there's a lot, everything is so instantaneous now. You have Amazon, you have different companies that'll give you stuff instant, but it's not always quality. So be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to be qualified for the job that you want sometimes, and sometimes you're going to get rejected by your dream job. But be patient. It's coming. You'll find that when you're patient and when you take what's supposed to be for you, it'll be the right fit.
Thank you, Brianna. I'm glad you mentioned self-care. Our keynote speaker for this occasion today is Kiara Boone. Kiara is a writer. She is a consultant. She's a columnist, and she has written for publications such as Ebony Magazine, Allure, Essence, amongst many others. She's also written for Travel and Leisure, one of my favorites. Kiara has interviewed celebrities like Mary J. Blige, Martha Stewart, Tracy Morgan, in addition to many other celebrities. She's the former senior entertainment reporter for Insider.com. She is a consultant, and she's worked on projects like iHeartMedia. Please welcome Kane graduate Kiara Boone.
Big girl shoes with no railings is not a good combination. Thank you for that warm introduction, and thank you for having me today. I want to tell you how I got to write for some of my dream publications, including Essence, Ebony, Emmy Magazine, and more. And that was because I had the willingness to push back. I pushed back as the editor-in-chief of the Union High School canon just up the street, where I fought for journalism classes to be integrated into the curriculum because I knew that 45 minutes after school was not enough to put out a quality paper. I pushed back when I was told that going to journalism school made more sense than getting a master's in public and organizational relations. Masthead job descriptions were changing, and a major that reflected where arts and lifestyle opportunities were going rather than where they've been was the right choice for me. Sleeping on couches is not really my thing, so I pushed back against the ideas that you cannot pay your bills, get good grades, and build your career at the same time. Juggling the three wasn't easy, but I did what I could to achieve balance. This included maxing out a credit card so I could skip a final at this school to go to a dinner where the beauty industry executives that I wanted to get to know were meeting. A couple years later, that decision paid my rent for 18 months. When the rules don't work for you, it's okay to push back. I tell stories every day for a living, but it took me years before I could stand here and say that to you. There were times when I stammered uncomfortably when people asked what I did to pay my rent because I was told that writing was not a real job. I had colleagues at my day job who asked me if it would ever turn into a real job. Before I was a magazine editor or a media consultant, I was a janitor, I was a bank teller, I was a cashier, and I was a secretary. Day jobs are not always cool, but they do help you invest in yourself. Do not sleep on them or the skills that you can walk away from them with. It hurt me deeply to explain that while I was interviewing Grammy winners and supermodels by night, I was running an education department at a hospital by day. But I could not do one without the other. I bought tickets to networking events, conference passes, cloud space, cameras, and everything else with a job that I hated. And if I had to, I would do it all again. Mentors appeared on my path, not through sending them entitled emails demanding for their time, but through them recognizing me as the girl with the clipboard, checking them into events at the internship that I balanced with my day job. Showing up earned me support. I endured mild embarrassment and a barrage of awkward conversations to meet as many people as I could. When my friends could come with me, we all went out on the grind together. And when they couldn't, I pushed back against the idea that there was something wrong with rolling solo. Approaching a writer I admired at an influencer event as an intern with no connections or reputations was risky, but years later, that writer would end up commissioning me to write for Allure and introducing me to other editors who would help me on my path. I once interviewed Kelly Rowland from a closet in the hospital at Trinitas where I was working. And she had no idea that the reporter she just chatted with was actually clocked out on her lunch break. And yes, I took too long, and yes, I got in trouble when I came back. At Trinitas, I used my PTO to pursue my passion until my talent turned into enough cash to send the resignation letter that I had in my drafts since my graduation day from King. After years of freelancing and contributing editor contracts, I earned an in-house senior entertainment reporter role. I finally had the W-2 job with the benefits and everything that everybody told me that I should want. But there was less autonomy on the side of that internal email address. You can tell what an organization cares about by what they spend their time and their money on. And when I felt there was not enough time and money spent on my beat, I pushed back. My instincts were right. The organization had mass layoffs less than a year after I headed back to the freelance world. The entertainment department was decimated, like I knew it would be. When the announcement was made, I was on assignment in Tulum for another organization. My career has taken me to private islands in Brazil, mysterious mansions in Mexico, and 21 Savage's suite at the Barclays Center. It even landed me on the New York Times best dressed list. I have laughed with Coi Leray at Governor's Ball, celebrated Christmas with Mary J. Blige. I've interviewed Swiss Beats and Spike Lee and Timberland and Brandy and BJ the Chicago Kid, Misty Copeland, Tia and Tamara. And if there are any millennials here, you know that that's the biggest deal of all. But I've done this by hustling from my first and last name, not what comes behind the comma in the email. It can be tempting to tie yourself to a job title or a company, but that is a trap. Don't cling to the advice of people who don't understand the demands of your calling or the way that the ground is shifting underneath your feet. Focus on what you want to accomplish, or not where or how you want to accomplish or who you want to accomplish it with. I know snark has taken over the media and it's cool to be mean to people all the time, but don't fall for that trap either. You can be smart without being malicious, and that company you want to work at might crumble, but your skills never will. Clout chasing is unsustainable. Shock value is temporary, and shade spins the block a lot quicker than you think it will. Circumstances change and clicks switch up. Stand on your business and nobody else's. Challenges come with alignment, but struggles sit on both sides of your intuition. So today, as you take the next forward steps in your education, as you guys celebrate your excellent, because you are excellent, and a lot of people don't get the grades that you get, and they don't spend the time that you do devoting to where you want to go in life. I want to remind you that pushing back is how you make progress. Congratulations.
Thank you, Kiara. That was beautiful. I would like to welcome to the stage Michael Milazzo. Michael Milazzo is a Kane graduate. He's also a member of Lambda Pi Eta, and he is a partner at Latham & Watkins. He has been very generous to our department, and he has sponsored all of your induction fees for this year. It's pretty sweet. Michael spent time working in London, and upon his return from the States, he started working at Latham & Watkins, which is the biggest law firm in the world. He's also an avid scuba diver. He has over 300 dives. He has really cool parents. I don't think they're here this semester, but he is very good to them. He's a lover of theater, and he is a patron to the Public Theater in New York City, and he likes working out. So any motivation you can provide for us to get to that gym in the morning, we welcome it. Michael, please come to the stage and greet our students and parents.
I'm going to keep this short because there's no way I can compete with either of you, so thank you for that. But congratulations first to all the students. Give yourself a hand. Tremendous. If you're graduating from Kane, you can do anything that you put your mind to. And so I'm going to give you 3 things for that journey to keep in mind. The first is, as we mentioned already, is build your team. That means whether it's your family, your friends. My parents were here last year. They're a little ill, unfortunately, this year, so they're not here. But building that team, both in your personal life as well as in your work life, is going to be key. You can't run through this life alone. As much as I've tried to do that, it took years for me to realize that having people to support and people that support you will help you on that journey. So build that team. Which leads me to my second point is give back. When you can and when you have the opportunity, whether it is your time, whether it is an ear, whether it's a hug, a pat in the back, whether it's giving back to the Kane University or any other people that have supported you. I'm just a boy who was fortunate that sitting in Jack Sargent's office one day back when I was at Kane University, and I told him I was going to go to law school, and Dr. Fitch walked by and said, if you don't go to the best law school, you're an idiot because you're not an idiot. And that lit a fire under me that has driven me since that day. So give back when you can. The third thing is take risks and be willing to fail. The people who do nothing never fail because they're not doing anything. In order to fail, you have to be taking risks. You have to be looking forward and taking decisions, making choices that might backfire. There are very few doors that you can't walk through, look around the room and say, you know what, this isn't for me, and walk back out. Like, we want to be smart. I don't recommend skydiving without a parachute, but almost anything else, if you just think through what are the risks, what are the rewards, you'll find that quite often going through that door to at least see what is through there will make it worth your while. So those are the 3 things I want you to take forth as you go forward in your personal life as well as your work life. And I'll give you one last bonus point. And that one last bonus point is, I can't tell it to you because you need to find it yourself. You will find something, you will find someone, whether it's a cause, whether it's work, whether it's giving back. You will find something that helps drive you and helps keep you fulfilled. When you find it, make sure you hold it and you use that, and you'll be happy and you'll be content for the rest of your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. It's very sweet. I would like to invite Diego Mendoza to the stage. Diego is going to receive his Lambda Pi Eta induction today, and we would just like to acknowledge 2 adjunct faculty members who are super awesome. Our first recipient can't be here today, Sal Teresa. He is very helpful with our Kane TV and our media and film department. And our second adjunct faculty member is Frank Scafidi. There he is, come on up. And we would just like to recognize you, Frank, for all of your work on the radio station and for everything you do for our students and faculty. I'll help you.
Here you go, Frank. Thank you very much. I'm not a Kane graduate, but I love coming here.
Yeah. Thanks, Diego. Okay, without further ado, we will get these students inducted into Lambda Pi Eta. This is how we're going to do it. Jennifer Brooks and Dr. Edgley are going to come on up here. We're going to call the students to receive their honors cord, certificate, and pin, and we're going to ask for the students to remain on the stage so that afterwards, as an entire group, we can take a group photo and smile and do all the cheeses. Okay.
And I just want to thank everyone again for your attendance here. I want to thank our students for being amazing, our guest speakers for your inspiring words and all the motivation that you're giving everyone. There's a little intro before we get to the names here, back to our ethos, logos, and pathos. And anyone who's had me for persuasion, you're over it, right, at this point, right? But because it's such a big part of our organization, I just wanted to bring back, and as we do that, we will have the candle. So for safety measures, we are not going to light the candles the way we would in a normal, traditional induction ceremony, but we would light 3, one for each of the different pillars. So the first mode of persuasion is logic or logos in all aspects of scholarship and its application to one's life. Logos and logic play a major role in deliberations and also in problem solving. Pathos, or the emotional appeal, the second symbol of our organization's title, encompasses a driving force that makes an organization vital and effective. And lastly, but not least, ethos, that character credibility, that ethics, that trustworthiness that we have. Aristotle sees character credibility as a primary means of effecting change in society and in one's life. Thus, it is appropriate that ethos is a major symbol of Lambda Pi Eta and supports its purpose, as mentioned by Professor Atkins earlier in the ceremony. So as I call your name, you're going to come forward, so we'll have the students come up this side. You're going to, as Professor Atkins said, you're going to remain on the stage so we can have a nice photo op afterwards. And it is going to be alphabetical, so I just want to have you on deck, right, and ready to go as I call them. And then I'm going to swear you in, so I'll have 2 questions for you, and the appropriate response is, I do. But if you don't, by all means, let me know, all right? So I'm going to begin calling the names. And one thing I want to mention, we wanted to make sure that all of our students were honored, even those who weren't able to attend today. So this is our full list of students, 32 in total this academic year, which is amazing. Inductees. So I will begin here. Our first inductee is Sandra Bandera. And we have Liliana Corredo. And may we have up Ria Christmas. Our next recipient, John DeFreitas. Next up, Hannah Egri. All right, and we will call up Robin Epstein next. All right, and next, Sarah Garcia. Perfect. Catherine Garner, you're up next. Our next recipient is Matthew Girello. And next we're going to welcome Bobby Goodall III. Our next recipient, Jasmarie Gutierrez. And next up, Felicia Hall. All right, moving into our next column, we have Melissa Kroll. And back up to the stage, Diego Mendoza. Our next recipient is Hector Morales. Yeah, we've got a big crew this year. And Daniel Osorio. Rounding us out, we have Jacqueline Patino. Yes. And I just have to do a quick check. Is Andrea? Yes, yes, Andrea Pineda. And next up, Shanalee Purcell. All right, in our home stretch, we have Sophia Sakowicz. All right, next, Kevin Stone. And maybe welcome Tyra Watts. And last but not least, Matthew Wiederspan. All right, my crew, as newly inducted members of Lambda Pi Eta, do you accept the challenge to maintain the high academic and leadership standards set forth by the organization and to serve as examples for the achievement of excellence in the field of communication? I do. That's what I like to hear. And do you promise to work toward the achievement of the goals as set down by the national policies and procedures of Lambda Pi Eta, as mentioned by Professor Atkins? I do. All right. Well, I am now ready to present our newly inducted members of our Epsilon Lambda chapter of Lambda Pi Eta for 2024. On behalf of Lambda Pi Eta and the Department of Communication, Media, and Journalism, we just thank you all again for your presence. We're going to ask Mr. Michael Milazzo to come up and join us one last time for a picture. And then after, you can take as many as you like. Where's our? Do we have a? Should we row?
Let's line them up.
Should we row?
All right, let's row some people that maybe are a little bit like my height in the front, and we'll put the taller folks in the back, and we'll just kind of condense. Bobby, Hector, Diego, kind of maybe round out. If
Thank
you.
you.
Can do like sorority knees, that would be good.
My knees are not so good.
Down, people in the front will just
Unless you have somebody to pick me up afterwards.
We got it? Can we get it?
Okay. All right, now the picture.
Communication on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Communication.
All right.
Aristotle.
All right, thank you for your attendance and being here to support these amazing and remarkable inductees. We invite you to join us back in the pre-function lobby, take some pictures, have some snacks. If you want to use the stage for a few pictures as well, it is open to you. Again, thank you all.